It is time for a special edition of Litter Media Live. I'm Dan Ramey here on Litter Media, of course, and we have Foothold International as our main focus today. There you see their website. They're taking a journey on October 5th, or at least taking you on a journey, and we have Brad and Cherie Catron with us from Foothold International. Good morning.
Good morning.
Or good afternoon if you're watching this in the afternoon, or evening as well. We have a special evening we're going to talk about. It's coming up here in just a couple of weeks.
Yep.
It is the Wonderlust Gala. So looking forward to that at the Postmark in downtown Chillicothe. We'll talk about that event and also why they're having this event. All just ahead right after this from our friends at Classic Brands.
If you can't give true love to me, I'll understand. Just
It's only worth it if you enjoy it. The Globe Ultra.
As we mentioned, we have special guests in studio with us today, and there is Cherie Catron to my immediate left and her wonderful partner in crime, Brad Catron, on the far end. We have talked about your mission, Foothold International, before on this program, but for people who are unfamiliar with what goes on, you travel from Chillicothe to Kenya, and you are helping a community in Kenya like they've never seen before. Tell us what goes on when you go to Kenya.
Well, we do women's empowerment through community development projects that are based on water, sanitation, and hygiene and education initiatives. So, yes, that's what we do.
And if you saw them at the recent Maker Fair for Mighty Children's Museum and the Paper City, you find yourselves making soap. You've taught yourself how to make soap, and you've taught the women how to make soap.
Right.
Not only has it helped the hygiene, but it's helped their economy as well.
Exactly. I think that's one of the things that there's so many things to say about. It's hard to put it all in one sentence or just like a 10-second little, kind of succinct statement. But one of the things we're really proud of is everything we do, we incorporate local resources. So we're hoping, yes, we're providing soap and we're trying to prevent disease, but we're also building a sustainable livelihood. It's the same way with our menstrual pad project. We train women locally to make those. They use local materials, so they're supporting the economy, and they're also getting an income from doing that. So we try to, everything we do kind of incorporate that income generating piece to help alleviate, poverty in a way that that's sustainable and also empowering.
What drew you to this?
We were just talking about that this morning.
Where did it all begin?
Well, it began differently for both of us.
Yeah, very different.
For me, I guess I always dreamed of going to Africa, but I was I was reflecting about it this morning. When I was very young, going through a very difficult time, I had I read a devotion that said, write down the dreams of your heart. And I thought, what? I was going through too much to think about that. And it took me probably weeks to answer that question. It was really haunting me. And finally, the word travel, just travel. I thought it's really strange for an overthinker like me to not be able to answer a question like that. And I think I was just going through so much for so long that I didn't have space to really think about what I really, wanted out of my life. And that seemed strange. How was I going to afford to travel? It just seemed impractical. It sounded really self-serving. I started praying about that. And within a couple months, I got on my first flight, all expenses paid, to go to a conference in Colorado, an educational conference. Then the next summer it was New Mexico, Vermont, and then just like a year later I was taking my first mission trip all the way to China. And then from there it was Ukraine, Colombia, and then finally Kenya. And then of course there's been more since, but Kenya was definitely the home that all of those travels prepared me for.
Yeah, it's amazing how God plants something.
Yeah.
And then you say, how are we going to make this happen?
Exactly.
And God's like, I got it covered.
Yeah.
I just want a willing heart.
Well, it wasn't just, I feel like the other piece of it that's really exciting and inspiring just to reflect on again, to go back and think about that, is that it was the desire of my heart, right? It wasn't just like me sacrificing. It started with like what I love to do, thinking that I was too selfish, right? But in the end, where we ended up, wow, it all came together. Just when you just open yourself up for that and are willing to jump in and take a risk, that faith leap, the desires of your heart get to be also a big part of that experience. Not just the sacrifice, not just the work, but.
So you've got the passion.
Yeah.
Where did that happen for Brad?
Yeah, it was different.
Oh, I came to faith in December 1st of 99. And the transformation there was just, I couldn't stop telling everyone what happened to me. And so then about a month later, there came an opportunity to go with the youth and some other churches from the area. Many of you will remember those times. We would go to Toronto, Canada, and minister to homeless and runaways. And so I raised my hand to go there. And it was then I knew that life had truly changed for me. Went on from there to working in the Ukraine for a couple of years there, in and out. And then came the opportunity to get on staff with a mission organization that we were going with. And part of coming on staff meant that you had to take a training trip somewhere else in the world. And the gentleman that had interviewed me for the position that I took, I knew that he went to Africa, to Kenya specifically. And I said, I want to go with him. I want him to train me. Mm-hmm. And so I went there, and then was 2004. I knew it was over. Kenya was where I needed to be. Yeah.
Well, and what's really interesting about the story was we weren't dating at the time. We were really good friends. Yeah. And I was so incredibly jealous in 2004 that he was taking this trip to Kenya. And I was like, why? I mean, I went to China around the same time, but I really wanted to go to Kenya. And it was not until we got married 2 years later that we went to Kenya together. He went one time. Yeah, so obviously you went before me. Yeah, actually a couple times. I was very jealous.
So what was life like for Brad before your conversion in 1999?
Ooh, we're going back.
These were things he wasn't ready to
We were ready
answer,
for these questions, Dan. You're going deep.
Oh, I was in business. I was in a family business. I'd been here 40 years, and after coming to faith, I knew I had to follow what I felt God calling me to do.
It's interesting to hear these stories, and we have to first of all answer them because it brings us back to why we're doing what we're doing now, or what God has brought us through to get us to where we are today, and prepare us for what's ahead.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. Thank you for asking those questions.
Thank you.
Well, sure. These are important things that our viewers need to hear, because we want you to believe in what they're doing as well. And as you're watching the images behind us here, these are some of the people that you've helped influence in their lives, not only helping them economically, but helping them spiritually as well.
Right. Mm-hmm. Yep.
That's what we're here for. And if you want to help fund this, well, you can participate with the Wonderlust Gala.
That's right. Yep. That's right. So, do you have a question? I was going to jump in.
No, that's all right. Go right ahead.
Well, and I think that the theme, destination, Wanderlust, a lot of people say to us, I can't go to Africa. I'll do, that's not my mission. That's not my calling. And so sometimes what we do seems so removed, seems so far away, seems so like a foreign, like another planet. Mm-hmm. And so we want to challenge people to find the joy in crossing whatever boundary that is. Whether it's to your neighbors, whether it's crossing into another country, another county, another state, whatever it is. I mean, because that's where it started with me, was going to another state. Mm-hmm. And not that everyone's story is the same. For me, travel obviously was such a deep part of my life mission and my passion and what I love. But we want to encourage people to experience the joy of that, to meeting, not just traveling, but not just like vacationing, but really building relationships with people from different places and enjoying and tasting and laughing and just the fun it is.
Because we don't realize this, but we have created boundaries around ourselves. Absolutely. And territories that sometimes it takes a little extra faith to step across that line. Yeah. And to help.
Absolutely. And I guess I want to say, I guess I've been there, and it's such a joy. Yes, there's times that your heart's broken. There's times where you are scared. Of course, there's times where you're uncomfortable, but my goodness, the world that opens up. It's such a big, God's creation is so much bigger than just what our eyes can see. And so we have to sometimes be intentional about crossing over into new places that take us out of our comfort zone, but it's okay. It's safe. Like it all works out. Right? The world is a big place, but it doesn't have to be scary or dangerous. And we love to help people travel. So whenever we know someone's traveling internationally, a lot of times people will come to us and ask for advice. We've been to a lot of places.
You've done it.
We
You
know
know what
some
it's like to
general
go
tips.
through TSA. And
Absolutely. And so
Yeah,
we
yeah.
love to be, that's really part of our mission too, is to encourage people to travel and to make that safe and responsible. And so we've consulted with a lot of people and we also help them arrange travel too.
And we encourage people to go beyond, look beyond the scenery.
Yes.
Relationships are what it's all about. And, you start forming relationships with the people and, as we say sometimes, doing more listening than speaking. Yeah. And as you listen, you really begin to find out things about people that you never knew, and it changes your life. You come back changed forever, and that's a good thing at times. Uncomfortable sometimes, but it's good.
It's good. Yeah.
the sunflower and the stalk of corn will not grow without a little bit of stress in its
Right.
in its growth,
Yeah.
and that's what makes it so strong to hold up things. October 5th, that is your Wonderlust Gala. It'll be at the Postmark,
Right.
and this is a fundraiser in which you have a couple of big things that are up for auction.
That's right. We actually have two things. We have two raffles. So people, even if they can't attend, if that night is busy or, they live too far away, whatever the reason, you can still support our mission and you can potentially win one of two things. We have two really great seats to the Ohio State. Oh, we'll do that one first.
Yeah, may as well start with this first.
Yeah, we have a cruise for two to the Bahamas. And, I think sometimes when I talk to people about vacation giveaways or things like this, we sometimes have a little anxiety about that. Is this real? Is it legitimate? So this is real. It's legitimate. It's paid for. I handpicked. I worked with Sheila Horn, which her contact information is on the page, to really plan out this cruise. So all the details are there. There's nothing hidden. There's no secrets. What's included is on there, what's not, and it's completely customizable. So if you don't like these dates, you want to go cruising sooner. If you would rather a different port, you can choose a completely different cruise. You can upgrade your room. It's really there as kind of an easy thing. You can just show up on on those dates in the Port of Miami. But if you want to do something different, it's for the winter. They get to completely customize it all the way up until March.
And to get tickets,
Yes.
there's a QR code right here.
Right there.
Just scan that.
Yeah,
and
that's
you'll
right.
be able to enter right in,
Exactly.
as they
Absolutely.
say.
Right now we haven't sold a lot, so your chances are really good to win. We really want to sell more of those, though.
Absolutely. And you also have, as you mentioned, Ohio State football tickets.
Yeah, so the same thing. The raffle tickets cost the same. They're $25 each or $5 for $100. And so these seats are really good seats.
Yeah.
The winter last year, we checked in. We made sure that the seats. Those seats were great down in the lower bowl. Very good view. So these seats are also really great seats too, and no hidden cost. You'll just get the seat. The tickets will be sent to you, whoever wins, and you don't have to be at the gala to win either one of these.
No.
We'll notify the winner
You just show
even
up.
if they're not in attendance.
It's all about convenience, right?
Yes, support a great cause, and win a chance at one of these prizes. So.
And of course, it's the Wonderlust Gala is what we're talking about, 6 until 9 p.m. And it's a Thursday night, so in fact, a couple of weeks away. So,
Yeah, just 2 weeks, like a day.
Coming up quick.
Yeah, 2 weeks in a day.
and again, the funds raised here are to help what you do on a regular basis.
Right. The biggest thing that this gala, the results of this, if we do meet our goals, is we'll get to go sooner, right? So we don't have set plans to go back just yet, but really the results of this will fund that trip back. And we need to get back there sooner than later. So if we don't raise enough, we'll have to kind of fundraise for additional, primarily for our flights. But also we've got a lot of work to do with our menstrual pad project, working on the land we purchased, and we get some revamping we need to do to the biosand filter project. So there's a lot of work that needs done sooner than later.
Now, you see the people behind us here. For instance, they're holding up some of the sanitary bags that you have of products. And when you folks arrive, what is your welcoming party like? Because you've been there enough times that you've built relationships.
Mm-hmm. It's funny because our welcome party is not maybe as exciting.
Yeah,
They're very sensitive to the fact that we've traveled a far way,
Yeah.
and that they want to give us a day or two to rest.
Yeah.
And so usually the real welcome party are the kids in the neighborhood. who will open the gate for us, and they have a little celebration, and they run around and tell everyone that we've arrived. So that's the real welcome party, or the kids in
You
the
kind of feel
neighborhood.
like a king walking in, royalty.
Not anymore. I mean, we've leased a house there for about 6 years now.
Yeah.
And it's much more economical, even though it stays empty about 7 months out of the year. But it's it makes sense cost wise. But now there is somebody that gets really excited when I arrive, and that's our landlord's dog, and his name is Freddie. And Freddie.
That's right. That is true.
Yeah,
I forgot about Freddie.
yeah.
Is the absolute official welcome.
So Freddie knows that when Brad arrives, he gets eggs every morning. So.
Oh, he likes
Yeah,
eggs.
yeah,
does
he comes in the house and gets his eggs. So.
No one else feeds him eggs.
No
They
one
all
else
say
feeds
Brad
him eggs.
spoils them. So when we come, like Freddie doesn't listen to anybody but Brad. So
So Freddie's glad we're there anyway. But no, seriously, it's great to settle into this community and be part of the community and shop locally, go to the market.
Yeah.
We see the different vendors that we know every year, and establish those relationships is critical to our work. So yeah.
I know when we had you in originally, Brad, to talk about the sanitizing of the water and helping them learn how to do that on their own, the women were walking how many miles a day to get water?
Yeah, sometimes we know of some people that walk sometimes a 6 mile round trip, and it's typically the girls who do this. And so when you take 20 liters weighing about 40 pounds, they'll either carry that as you would just carry a regular bucket, but more importantly, the girls learn to carry the buckets on top of their head. As early as 3 and 4 years old, they start carrying little things, like sacks of grain or something like that to get their balance established and things like that. So so mainly it's the girls.
So it's a quicker trip to get there.
Yeah.
Then you're bringing weight back with you,
Yeah.
as it were,
Yeah.
and
Right.
then you have to purify all that water as best you possibly can. Before you showed them how to do this with your sanitization sand filters, they were boiling this water, right?
yeah.
Yeah, they had to boil it, but then even though you boil the water is so dirty, the turbidity, the sand and other things that are in it are still there. So they're merely boiling it, taking care of the bacteria, but it still doesn't. It's not that appetizing.
Yeah.
But we've
It's
learned
not.
over the years of you being there and helping them along that their hygiene through the soap has improved. Their attendance to school has
Yes.
improved.
Yes.
Their outlook has improved.
Yes.
The water, you can drink it now without any impurities that you have to worry about. And you're helping them spiritually, I think, to just lift it all up together in one complete package.
Yeah, and we, our approach used to be to do, and there's, in different areas, different approaches are appropriate. But we found in that area, we were doing church planning, evangelism kind of out in the community. And what we learned was that they were the ones that were better at doing that. They spoke the language. And what they really needed was for us to meet some of their basic needs so that they could be empowered to do that very thing. And so we are, that's more of a holistic approach that we take now. So especially our women's groups, they have taken discipleship to such a level that we never even knew existed. Wow. And so they have taught us so much more. And I think that openness to seeing how they live, I mean, they as they're carrying their water, they're singing praise songs and they're praying. And so every piece of their life is just drenched with, their faith walk. And so, it's kind of humbling to realize they have way more to teach us about faith and prayer and devotion than what I could. And so a lot of us, our work we're doing is, what do you need? And so, pastors, when we meet with them, they would say, we need water. Our congregation is water desperate, and they're not coming to church because, they are so water desperate, and they're hunkering down and reserving their resources. And so, we listen to them. That's what they needed. That's what they wanted. And they'll say, the gospel has to be good news, right? If we see our brother in need and we say, go in peace, right? We weren't meeting those needs. So the gospel was kind of, the phrase or the book, the hole in our gospel, right? There was a big hole in it. We were kind of ignoring. We were very much ignoring what we were seeing in front of us.
And we were able to install 2 wells in the last 3 years. and or 2 years, and that is good news to a community that is, getting water from where hundreds of cattle, sheep, and goats have already gone to drink the day before. And so
And what is amazing is spiritually you can be baptized and show the outward washing. You've cleansed the inside.
Yeah, it's very symbolic.
Yes.
and practical, right? Water is so practical. When you think about just the baptism too, like water is so symbolic, but it's also it's literally life-giving, right? It's literally what we need to survive. And it's what we need to cleanse ourselves. Like the symbols are so powerful when they're used in a practical context. And they're not always promised, right? When they're scarce, they even have a deeper, heavier impact when it's available. So one of our wells was installed on one of the pastor's websites on his
property.
Yeah, my mind is in the virtual world. In his property, so he manages the water. He certainly his family benefits from it, but him and the community manage that water together. So it's another thing, kind of testimonial to the community of the goodness of the gospel, that it touches everything, not just us, what we think emotionally, spiritually, but that should pour out into, our health, our wellness, our relationships, our finances. We should see those things improve. And so that's kind of that's the gospel too. That's the other part of it that we felt like we were missing in the past.
Well, and I thought this was important, again, for the viewers, so that they can learn more about what you're doing. Yeah. And it's more than helping people live better lives. I mean, it extends. And as you get to 1, you get to 2, that multiplies into 4. And that's what we're supposed to be about.
Right. It's so relational. Everything they do is, it's relationship to relationship. It's mentoring. It's just so embedded in their culture. We've learned so much from watching them, just mentor each other and take care of each other. So much more sense of a community than what we experience here. It's hard for us. We have to be intentional about it, and it just comes very naturally within their communities.
Yeah. Now, we want you to come and enjoy their event on October 5th. If you want to hear more about their mission, I'm sure you do speaking engagements.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Do.
So
we just
how do we get a hold of you?
Well, our website, I guess we could give out our email address, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Right. So Brad and Cherie. So there's Brad Catron at Foothold International, and there's also me, Cherie Catron, at Foothold International. You can email us.
And you can always go to the website, scrolling across the top there, and there's a contact link there, and get in touch with us that way. And then we'll get back to you pretty quickly, because we
love to. Yeah, we definitely. We spoke this Sunday, 2 services at Walnut Street, and. It was wonderful. Yeah, we definitely thank you for mentioning that. Another thing we love to do too is to have small group meetings. So if there's a Bible study group or a book club, those are really precious times. Those are that we really get to share with people, get to know them a little bit more intimately, and they can ask us questions. So that's something that I want us to do more of.
Sure.
and if anybody ever wants to learn how to make soap, Cherie can do. We can do soap making classes where we can. Cherie can show people how to make, basic bar of soap, but then not only that, it's an opportunity to learn more about how soap transforms lives in huge ways.
Yeah, ways you wouldn't expect.
You wouldn't expect. Yeah.
Thank you for what you're doing.
Thank you, Dean.
And we appreciate you coming in today.
Thank you.
Again, footholdinternational.org is their website, and you can join us on October 5th. That will be from 6 until 9 p.m. at the Postmark.
You'll be there, right?
I've been wrangled into this, so I'll be there as well. But it's for a good cause, and I like being wrangled in for good causes.
Thank you.
Thank you,
Brad and Cherie Catron, our guests today on a special edition of Litter Media Live.